welcome to another episode of the Lions Den podcast, another Monday night football as we are here. Monday full of crazy soccer. Later in a couple of days, we have the champions, we have the jornada on the weekend, and we are here to talk about everything Club Leon in English, as tomorrow we'll face LAFC in the CONCACAF Champions League. So we are here on another Monday Night Football. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the show. So welcoming, the crew, the gang, Louis, Jose, Carlos, and Javier. How are we feeling tonight, guys?
Optimistic.
For tomorrow.
Excited,
but a little nervous, but excited, yeah.
Very, very excited for a tournament that Leon makes their fabulous return to and at home. But as you can see, we are not alone. We have someone very special on screen. Former Leon defender, 3-time World Cup participant with the men's national, U.S. men's national team, and current broadcaster for Univision, Marcelo tonight.
I'm good. A little not as stressed as these other guys with Luis and Jose. They all look stressed out about, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a good day. Tomorrow Leon plays, you know what I mean? It's a good day. Stress will come tomorrow when they step on the field against LAFC. But for now, I'm feeling optimistic.
That's what we like to hear. So before we dig into all the crazy Club Leon talk that we will have, talk to us a little bit about your career, your time at Leon, and what are you up to now?
Let's start with I am the U14 Rapids DA coach. I have the 14s that we kind of progress into the professional ranks, which has been awesome. I've had a great team over the last 4 years. I think we're like 84 wins, 6 losses, and 3 ties. We've got a pretty good young group of kids here, which has been fun. I'm their broadcaster in English. I do the Rapids TV in English. I do Spanish now, or Univision, whichever one you want to go with. The U.S. national team games, and I do English and in Spanish this year. So I'll be doing some of that. As for my career, you know what? I've been blessed. I've come back from quite a few nasty injuries, we'll say, from a torn ACL right before the World Cup in '94 to 2 stomach surgeries throughout the 96-97 seasons in there. So it's been a great career. The dream of mine was always to play soccer professionally. And in the United States, we really didn't have, we had amateur leagues where we were I played with the San Francisco Bay Blackhawks. I played here with the Colorado Foxes. But the blessing of after the 94 World Cup, and I'll give you a little story of that. I went to Greece looking for a team because Olympiacos wanted to sign me. So I went there, got there 2 days, played in a game against Red Star. We flew to Yugoslavia, played against Red Star, came back, and they offered me a contract, which was awesome. I was extremely happy. The only problem was they had to get rid of one center forward who didn't really want to be there, but he wanted to get paid out, and that was Amakachi, if you remember the 94 World Cup for Nigeria. So sitting there waiting for him, waited a week. He still didn't resign. He didn't leave. I get a call from U.S. Soccer president or U.S. Soccer telling me that Puebla wanted me to go to Puebla and try out. I'm like, try out? I'm like, okay, sure, why not? Always wanted to play in Mexico. And so I went there, trained 4 or 5 days. We couldn't come to an agreement on a contract. So as we were getting ready to leave, we get a phone call from an agent saying that Ruggeri wasn't going to sign with Leon. Leon now is looking for a center back. They're like, can you come out? I'm like, sure. Why? I'm already in Mexico. I'm like, yeah, why not? So I went to Leon. I trained 1 day. They knew exactly the contract that I wanted because of what happened in Puebla. And the next day, I was a panza verde. I was ecstatic.
Yeah.
So not an easy road for an American to, at that time, because that rivalry between the Mexican national team, most of the Mexican national team players were playing in Mexico. We were just starting to play. And you remember that was at that point where we just started kind of beating them a few times. We went to Azteca in '97 in a World Cup qualifier. We tied 1-1. But I got to say, though, it was, and I've had a lot of great experiences, but the time I had at Leon was probably some of the best experience I've had in soccer, because the pressure of having to win every week. And it's not okay to tie. You must win there. The Leon fans, when I was wearing the green, just embraced me like I was one of theirs. And as soon as I put on this bad boy, they hated me like it was no other. But I expected that. You know what? And all over Mexico, I got to say, when we went to Azteca, when we went to Toluca, everybody was so receptive of an American who is Argentine, who grew up playing the U.S., now playing in Mexico, that, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I had an opportunity to go back. MLS didn't sell me. They tried to, Pachuca tried to buy me. And MLS was like, that would have been kind of a blessing, because, going from Leon, then you come back to a different team, might have not been a good thing. So, but that's and again, blessed enough to be an American who, listen, a dream of an athlete or of a professional soccer player is to represent your country. To be able to represent your country in a quality, you can say it's a dream come true, but it's almost one of those things that, how do you describe when you finally live that dream? You know what I mean? So, but to say that I've been blessed enough to play in 3 World Cups and represent my country, and to say that I've played in a World Cup in my own country in '94, is something that you just, not a lot of athletes get to experience that. So again, very blessed and very lucky, and again, excited to be here with you guys. I watch you guys when you guys throw the replays up on Twitter, and I'm like, I'm like, let's tweet them and see what's going on. So,
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's great.
So, and now look at this. Now all the Mexican national team players are coming where?
Yeah.
Remind us.
Well, we had Donovan and Eric Rinaldo in its moment too, and then I guess you can also add Miguel Ibarra, right?
Miguel Ibarra,
Minnesota.
William Jabro, this American,
and then you got Yarbrough. Yeah, so I guess Leon is one of those teams that's always welcoming Americans, which is awesome, because I'm never gonna deny where I was born. I love the country where I was born. I love the fact that my parents are from Leon. I just, it's one of those things where I feel that even when Donovan came to play for Leon, he was received. I was there in El Estadio de Leon. I don't know how many people, but it was a lot of people.
Yeah,
and it was kind of cool seeing a lot of other teams hate us.
Filled up.
But let me ask you guys this: you're all Leon fans. How upset were you that he went there and it was more? And here in the United States, he wasn't in his prime. Wasn't that? And you were looking for reinforcements, and we're trying to get into the playoffs. We're trying to make it, and he really didn't play much. Or didn't really, that was the hard part for me as a Leon fan.
Yeah, it was, but I think at the same time, sport-wise, he didn't brought up much, because obviously he had been retired for a couple of years, but I believe, at least market-wise, like, it kind of
100%
put us on the maps, and that's what now needs. That's the whole reason why we're trying to win this CONCACAF Champions League.
I agree, Jose. I agree 100%. I think in that sense, Donovan coming to Leon, I went back to keep telling the story. Like during the World Cup final, there was a big event in North Park, and Donovan was there, and he was being interviewed, and I had my Leon flag, and he recognized me. He's like, "Hey man, what's up?" And I was like, "Can you sign it, please?" And then the whole time I was behind him with the Leon flag, and I remember him just saying some good things about Leon, like, because there was a lady that was there, and she said, "Hey, what if nobody else wants to take a picture with that Leon flag?" And I'm like, "How do you know that?" And he turned around and said, "Yeah, how do you know that?" And I just appreciate him having that love for Leon. I just have, I think in that sense, anybody that came to Leon and has fond memories, and forget that Leon is very, very loving when it comes to
No.
people that never forget them.
You've had enough Americans there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'll certainly never forget. I was fortunate to see it wasn't very many minutes, but I saw every minute that he played in a Leon uniform. And saw him at a few hoteles de concentración with I just was watching him
There you go.
a few feet from me wearing his Leon polo. This is my club that I've adopted and have grown to love more than maybe anything on earth, and the legend for my selección at the same time. So
Yeah.
I mean, I have nothing but good. That was not a great. It was not a great season competitively for the club, but I mean, I have nothing but fond memories for his time with the team. Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, we're so stoked to have you, Marcelo, and let's just go ahead and dig in. What do you think?
Go.
Let's do it.
Okay, so Leon had a surprising Friday night against San Luis. Carlos, can you give us the team news prior to this match, please?
Sure. So just to catch you guys up on some team news, Nico Sosa, as we all heard last week, is going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. He injured his right quadricep. That's not good for the team. We were really looking for somebody to come in and back up Leo Ramos. So we'll have to wait on his return. Hopefully we'll get to see him during the midseason, maybe towards the end. And then we saw Ivan Rodriguez. He got some minutes with the U20 team, his first match since coming back from ankle surgery. And he'll be with Leon tomorrow. So that's really good. That's a plus.
That's a plus.
Also, William Tecillo didn't travel with the team. That was coach's decision, probably to rest him for tomorrow, which is, in my opinion, a good decision. And then we also, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but Jesus Martinez, the president, said that they might exercise the buyout clause on Campbell's loan. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? I think it's a good move for the team.
Well, yeah, especially because before this tournament started, there was that rumor that we were going to trade him for maybe Valencia or somebody at Tigres, but at the same time that couldn't happen because he's not owned by the club. I guess in a way they do buy him. In the future, it could work out for us for sure. I think he's a great player, especially when he comes in the second half. Lamentable note that he had to have surgery and he's going to be out for tomorrow's game. I don't know how that would affect us. Yeah, that's.
It's like we get some back and then we lose 2 more, man.
And we lost Yairo. Yairo.
And to the weirdest things, like of all the things that could happen, appendicitis was not anyone's radar. I don't think. But,
yeah. Awesome. So as we saw, I mean, we're really frustrated of the result on Friday night. Wasn't the result that we were expecting, but obviously we had a chat before we went live saying, well, we knew that we could probably afford to lose the game on Friday, thinking that we had to have the best 11 players on Tuesday because even though there's 2 legs, the first leg, it's at home, and Leon needs to make a statement at home with the best 11 on the field. Guys,
what's the buyout real quick for Campbell?
Buyout?
That's a good question.
Yeah, see, I haven't heard anything.
Anybody know? No.
Yeah, I imagine
the amount. The amount? I don't. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't be that high because Leon doesn't.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. I think that balances out if it's worth it or not because he's not a starter. He's coming in off the bench. I like him.
Yeah,
I like him too.
Yeah, spark off the bench.
Yeah, I've said a few times. I think. I mean, he's a guy who goes on there and shows you world-class talent. He shows you why he was at Arsenal for a while. I mean, he's not as consistent as you'd like him to be, which is why he's not a starter. But I mean, he's going out there and showing you something every time, and you're like, I mean, I get why this guy has the trayectoria that he has. So I mean, I'm in favor of it. But that's a good question about the amount. I'm not honestly sure what the amount is.
Yeah, it's when it comes to stuff like that. As you find out, it's kind of hard to find out amounts because it's not as open as it is in the US. Like that everyone knows. This is how much we need to pay to get Campbell. But so far I haven't heard anything about what the amount is.
Okay.
Just heard about that they are gonna exercise the buyout clause, but I don't know what the amount is.
Yeah, and it's we don't know whether they plan to use that. I mean, to buy him out have him in the future plans of the club, or to just have him as a contract to sell later on. But I hope he's part of the future plans of the club, because I think he, like you say, Marcelo, he's a player with a lot of good qualities. Yeah. I like him. I think he brings a lot when he comes in.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely. So what are we looking at for tomorrow's defensive line? I know on Friday night we had Osvaldo, Ramiro, Barreiro, and Navarro, and we all were just banging our heads thinking, what is this going to look like on Tuesday? Why can't we just go back to what worked in the the best season that Leon had, right?
So
Ramiro.
Yeah, so like I said on the chat with you guys, what I want to see backline is Cecilio on left back. I want to see Ramiro and Herrera and then Navarro. What we're going to see, however, is going to be Osvaldo on left back, Cecilio on center back, and then
Luis
Barreiro center back. And Navarro. So
well, look, maybe tomorrow is Barreiro's game. Maybe he's had a couple of bad games. Hopefully tomorrow it's his game. That's all I could ever. I'm just gonna be optimistic. Like, yes, we don't have Campbell, we don't have Yairo, we don't have Nico, but maybe maybe Barreiro can finally have his best game ever with Leon tomorrow. Why are you guys looking at me like that?
At least one.
Marcelo, what's your take? You have.
No, listen. Here's the deal. I think that if we want to talk about the 3-1 loss to San Luis, I think you look at that game and you just got to put it aside and only be. And I know as fans, you want to win every game. I get it. I get that. As a player, you want to win every game, but sometimes you got to sacrifice a little here and there in order to get the end result. And what's the end result? Is beating LAFC at home. You got to send a statement tomorrow. Listen, I love my MLS. Don't get me wrong. I love my MLS, but they have played 4 games. Okay. They have only Toronto.
They play against Toronto.
So Leon's already going into the 7th game of the season. Tell me who's fitter. We know Leon is.
Definitely Leon.
This is to send a message at home, because you don't want, if you win 1-0 at home, I tell you what, I've been to LAFC. I know their fans. I know how they play at home. It's going to be a tough game. Leon needs to come out tomorrow and they need to make a statement. And knowing LAFC, they're going to come out. They're going to play offensive style soccer. They've got some quality players. But at the end of the day, the team that you saw out there against San Luis isn't going to be the team you're going to see out there. Everybody out there, because tomorrow is the most important game, because Champions League is it. It is it. Everybody wants to win that. So I think what we saw the other night, 3-1, listen, I wasn't happy either. But at the end of the day, I was happy they beat Rayos. Very happy about that game. And and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Sacrifice a little. I think they're sacrificing a little bit to make sure they're ready for tomorrow night's game and they're rested.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and they have a little cushion. They've had such a great start to the season. I mean, 12 points through 6 matches is a good average. I mean, 2 points in game average. That's good. They can afford to take it. They could afford to take it a little easy. I understand. I think all of us are just like, I don't know. Even with that, half the starters out or more, we expected a little. We expected something better than what we got. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe like a nice 1-1 draw or something like that. But
well, we all hope for that. Let's be honest. Maybe a 1-0 win away from home. I don't know. It's very difficult in Liga MX to win away from home.
Oh yeah.
The easiest thing in the world. So, again, I mean, you want to win every game. It's just reality, because we're fans. We pay money. We love our team. It's in our blood, and it's in our heart, and it's in our soul. But then if they win tomorrow night, do we forget about San Luis?
Yes.
A little bit.
Of course.
Exactly.
I already forgot about something. That's like, we need to talk about this. Skip San Luis, go to LA.
Yeah, you forget too easy. I can't forget that one.
Well, but I think not the normal recap that we would do after a 3-1 loss, because we have something more important coming up tomorrow. Obviously, it's not the normal circumstances.
And nothing. I'm not trying to take anything away from San Luis. I think they played a really, really smart game against Leon.
Exactly.
That's, and also I think because people think they lost 4-0 against Pumas. They're like, oh, Leon's gonna beat them easily. But they've had some games where they've shown that they're a good team. But that being said, definitely not having Tecillo and even Montes not playing, the majority of the game, it just shows you how much you're dependent. Those two players, how Leon is dependent on those two players.
There was a few extra players that were not in that starting lineup the other day. But listen, when I think we'd be having a different conversation if Champions League wasn't this week. I think a different conversation of the players that were on the field, tactically how they were going to play. But at the end of the day, it happens here. It happens here because sometimes you play a Saturday game, you play a Wednesday U.S. Open Cup game, you have a Saturday league game, you have a following Wednesday U.S. Open Cup game, and then a Saturday game. So you have to learn to manage minutes. You have to learn to manage age, because not everybody, as the older you get, can't, rebound as quick and recover as quick. So sometimes in the season, when you allow out the season, you got to prioritize a little bit of what.
Oh, did we lose Marcelo?
No, Marcelo.
You got to have a Plantel of 20, and you've got to use everybody.
There you are. Sorry, you froze.
I froze. I'm sorry. It's a long season. It's a long season, so you have to learn to manage. Because listen, you've got your starting 11, but 12, 13, 14, all the way to 18 are important, and especially in Liga MX with the games they play. You only have a short time between torneos, so you've got to learn to manage minutes, because everybody's important. You have to get minutes to everybody.
Yeah. Especially when you're playing in two competitions.
Yeah.
Yes,
which what we were talking about, especially last season, was those second leg games. So first and second leg games in the year that killed Leon because they were not able to bounce back quickly. So we're taking that in consideration, and taking in consideration the Leon has their weaknesses defensively. I think offensively we have strengths because we have a lot of goal scoring opportunities. It can come from Meneses, from Mena, Ismael Sosa. Chapito Montes ages like wine. Like, he is just unbelievable. So I think obviously we're not going to see the same defensive line as we saw on Friday, but it still worries me to an extent, especially when the main goal is to aim at Carlos Vela. How are we going to take him down? Right?
Yeah, because we can't deny that Carlos Vela is perhaps the best Mexican player today. You can have your opinions about whether you like that he doesn't like playing for La Selección Mexicana or not, but I think he's proven to a lot of people that he's definitely somebody to watch out. And
better than Chucky? Is he better than Chucky?
Well, he's not playing right now. Yeah, he has. I think Chucky could probably probably make a better career than Vela in Europe. But right now, unfortunately, when Gattuso came to Nápoles, he hasn't been getting those minutes.
Yeah, no, I know.
So
I look at it this way. The way you stop Carlos Vela is he's not in top form yet, right? They just started preseason. They've got 4 games in. They're getting limited minutes. So I think that when you see an MLS team, it's at its weakest point 3, 4 weeks, 5 weeks into preseason, because they haven't really played a competitive game. And what I mean by competitive, because the games they've played are competitive. They've won. They tied Dallas. Those are competitive games. This is a tournament now. The level from here, an exhibition game, to a tournament game rises a lot quicker. The speed of play, the competition. And I think you look at it this way, that LAFC, if they're smart, they're not going to open themselves up. They're not going to try to hit Leon with movement. When they get home, it'll be a different ballgame. I think tomorrow you're going to see a team in a low block. They're going to sit there. I think the first 5 or 10 minutes they may go after Leon just to see what Leon's going to do. But I have a feeling you're not going to see Leon open up too much. LAFC open up too much against Leon initially. They're going to feel him out and see what it's like. So that's where Leon has that opportunity. How you stop Vela? You mark him nice and tight. You don't let him turn on the ball no matter where he is. When he turns, When he turns,
and
he can slice and dice, and he can thread balls through, filtrar here. You know what I mean? He's a quality player, but he's not 100% yet. So this is the advantage Leon has.
Yeah.
Wow.
To get him on the
You just answered one of my. You just answered one of my questions. I was going to ask you, since you're a defender. What would you do if you were playing with Leon tomorrow against Carlos Vela? What would you?
You're gonna be pulling up Pedro Aquino and get yourself carted out of the game.
No, you know what it is if as a center back, I got lucky enough that I got to play against Hermosillo and Zaga. They were my size, so it was a much more physical battle. It was an aerial battle. It was different. Now, when they started fading out, El Matador came in. Holy crud! Now you've got a shorter, quicker, faster guy. So what do you have to do? If you let him turn on you, you're in trouble. So you had to hit him. You had to hit him from behind. Not enough where you're getting a yellow card, but sometimes you step on his heel. He knows you're there. He turns, you step on his toe. And it's not being nasty. It's just being part of the game. You have to let the forward know that you're there.
You're there.
Exactly. So that's where I think that you have to just let Vela know that you're there. LAFC.
I think it's just interesting. I think Vela, it will be the best player, at least on paper, on the pitch. He's not quite in form yet, but I think he'll be the best player on the pitch. I'm just curious what you think about. I don't know. I think Leon's front line, their attacking core as a unit, has quite a bit of skill and ability over LAFC's. I don't think Vela is better as an individual player than any of our guys maybe, but as a unit, our guys are I don't know. I consider them to be a lot more dangerous. I think the LAFC fans are very confident, but I'm not sure they all know exactly what they're getting into. I don't know if they've seen so many a team with an attacking core like this with so many threats to score at any time. I don't know. So that fills me with a little bit of confidence. Aside from the fact that the Leon is in better form, just the nature of we have so many weapons. That they're not going to be able to, especially now. I mean, you can talk about the weaknesses to our defense. I mean, I think that's their weakness too, especially having just gotten rid of Walker Zimmerman. That's a sensitive loss for them. He's an all MLS center back.
U.S. national team center back.
U.S. national team center back. That's going to be. It's going to help them get better in the long term. But for these matches coming up this next week, I mean, I feel like that's going to be a tough loss for them. That we're going to be able to really take advantage of if we're firing on all cylinders on that front line. I'm just curious what you think about that.
One, I would have traded Walker Zimmerman after the Leon game, not before the Leon game.
No, that would have been the hard thing to do.
Here's the problem. When you're building a team, do you want to build and buy a $2-3 million defender, or do you want to buy $2-3 million forwards that are going to score goals? So every team in Liga MX, more than likely, if you look at tendencies, they'll buy one defender, but the majority of their money is spent going where? Forward, because fans want to see offensive soccer. Tomorrow could be this. If Leon walks into the game and walks out of that stadium thinking, they're in preseason, they're not that good, our league is better, that kind of just a little bit of arrogance, a little bit of overconfidence, that's where you get in trouble. Because, listen, when you talk about the United States teams, they're going to run, they're going to fight, they're going to scratch for 90 minutes. They're going to give everything they have. When you walk out into a field and you think to yourself, okay, they're below us, it's a lower league, we're not taking it like we should, like we would take playing Club America or we play Cruz Azul. That's where you can get in trouble, because you do something that I'm overconfident. I'll dribble this guy to make myself look good. He gets nicked, he gets stolen, it's in the back of the net. So definitely. For me, I like buying defenders. I would always buy a center back or two, and then the rest of my money would go to spend going forward. I think Leon's attack is very good. I think LAFC's defense is in transition, but they've got a kid named Blackman. They've got Palacios. They've got a good core back there that's been together. So again, little weaknesses. I can tell you what, LAFC tomorrow is going to come out fired up because they've been waiting for this. Leon has to match their intensity. If Leon does not match that intensity, it makes me nervous.
Yes.
Me too. I just wanted to add to that real quick because I think during the last couple of weeks, I mean, we've always kind of mentioned about how the thing that scares me about Leon the most is que a veces pecamos de soberbia. I saw it against Veracruz. I see it against. They always play really well against the important teams.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, like, again, I repeat, Veracruz, they were beating us. Yeah. And if it wasn't for Super Saiyan Chapomontes, I don't even know we would have been the laughing stock of the world. Because yes. So hopefully we do take, like I said, Carlos Vela and the whole team of LAFC very seriously.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, adding to that, I mean, my question is, to you, is how do you think LAFC fans view us? Obviously, we're not the America, we're not the Cruz Azul, we're not the Tigres, the Monterrey, the Moneybag teams, but we're a team that under Era Ambriz, we've played very well collective football. Yeah. We, we have 12 consecutive wins. We have an admirable style of play that, we rarely betray like other teams. And, we came close and, we have hope that this year is the year de la octava. Do you think they underestimate us? Because we're not like a big...
No. There's a big rivalry. There's a huge rivalry here in the United States and MLS. We are closing the gap between Liga MX and MLS. Okay, that's what we're trying to do. So anytime you get into a tournament against a Mexican team, in order for US and MLS to establish themselves as getting better every year, they've got to start beating Mexican club teams, not the national team, because that's already a rivalry we've had since 90, really. So now the next rivalry is the club teams. The club teams, we keep saying the same thing. We're not there yet. We're not close. We're closing the gap on Liga MX, but until we can beat them consistently and we can win Champions League, that's the goal. Then that means we've gotten there. And it's not winning it once, it's winning it maybe back to back with our MLS teams. So I can tell you this, because I was in LA a few weeks ago for MLS Media Day. This is the one they have marked on their calendar. This is the one they have marked on their calendar because they want a statement. They want to win. They want to get into that next. And when you look at teams like LAFC, Toronto that have gotten there, that have done well. LAFC's goal, they won Supporter Shield. They won the league, but they didn't win the MLS Cup. They got knocked out. So the way to start it on the right note, your league, showing that you're moving in the right direction, is by beating Leon and moving into the next round of Champions League. So no, they're not underestimating it. And wait, Leon's going to be pleasantly surprised when they go to LAFC and they see what that atmosphere is. And I got to say, they're going to be used to it because their fans are like the Leon fans. It's going to be screaming, yelling, and horns in both places. So it's finally gotten here in the United States where certain venues are like playing in Mexico or they're playing in Europe right now. So I think that listen, when I saw this matchup, I thought, man, this is going to be a very close game. Yeah. Just one mistake, a mispass, a mismark, not marking your guy on a set piece could cost you this series.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that was the game that we all actually wanted. And on our group chat, we were all saying, like, who do you guys want, guys? Like LAFC, especially because we got Carlos and we got Jose who are in LA. I was going to go to the game, but, fortunately I can't. But either way, that was the game that I really wanted too, because, on paper, it's, and I said it on Twitter, and someone was saying, like, I bet you the América Comunicaciones game will get more ratings. Like, no, dude, really, like, this is the game that many people want to see because it's the least what's the word? It's the least or at least the most what's the word? I can't remember it, but it's not as, because I feel América is gonna definitely beat Comunicaciones. What am I trying to say, guys?
The parity. I'm looking at the parity of this game. Both teams are very good teams. Leon reached in the final. The parity when you're talking about two teams, and I agree with you. When you look at América Comunicaciones, and no disrespect, everybody naturally thinks it's going to be America. So why are we going to watch that game? When you watch the Leon LA game, when you talk about it, you think to yourself, I haven't heard anybody beat it. LA fans say they're going to win. Leon fans are going to say, neutral people say, I'm excited to see this game because Carlos Vela, going back to Mexico. Leon's got a good team. So
yeah,
I agree with you on that part. I think this could be one of the most competitive games in this round.
Definitely.
Especially because both teams
opening round. No, go ahead, Jose.
Yeah, because both teams last year
what were you
were,
gonna say, Jose?
even though LAFC didn't reach the final and Leon did in the first half of the year, both teams, if it was a long tournament for Leon, they were the best in Mexico last year, 2018. LAFC was the same, and that's another reason why this game is so
both have
it's
something to
important for us
prove.
too. But we have, just
that's
like
why
he said that yesterday. So that they have to prove that MLS has grown and that they can compete with Mexican. We do too. We have to prove that they're not there yet. That they still need work to do, and then we can still win as we have been doing in the last season in Champions League.
And I just wanted to add also, I think. Oh, sorry, Jose. No, I just wanted to add really quick. Yeah, also, like I said, Leon it's a team that sorry, dude. Leon is definitely a team that needs to prove themselves on the international stage, because there's even the whole Liga MX versus MLS debate. In Mexico, we have another debate about who really deserves the title of El Quinto Grande. The media already gave it to Tigres. In theory, it should be maybe Toluca because they have more championships. But I think Leon is one of those teams that's always being overlooked. They have got an amazing history. They got 7 titles, 7 copas. They have campeón de campeones. I think it's a team, if they get their first CONCACAF Champions before Tigres, that's really, it's up. It's up for debate. Who is El Quinto Grande? I don't know.
Definitely
if they win a CONCACAF Champions, no, I'm just saying, if Leon wins a CONCACAF Champions, I think people are gonna go for Leon. It's just how it works nowadays. Your team is champion. Other people say, "Hey, I'm gonna go for that team." That really is how we can say what a grande is you keep winning titles. You keep winning titles. So it is very important for Leon and LAFC too, because they're a brand new team, but they want to prove that they are going to be at least a team for people to talk in the long run in MLS.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean,
go ahead, Lou.
I do think I don't know, Marcelo, what you think about this, but I think that Leon, for my money, I'm biased a little bit, but I think Leon, for my money, the last year and a half, since the last clausura, the clausura 2019, has been the Mexican club that has looked the best, at least in regular seasons. But we're not a club that the casual fan or the diehard MLS fan that doesn't watch Liga MX at all. They don't really know that much about us. I've just been seeing. I know you don't think that the LAFC fans are underestimating us, but I do feel like if this opening round matchup with LAFC were any of the other 3 Mexican clubs in the tournament, the conversation would be a little different. If it were América, Cruz Azul, or Tigres, the conversation would be a little different because they've heard of those teams. I mean, at the very least, they've heard of those teams. Those teams might not have been playing as quality football as Leon has over the last year and a half, but they've heard of those teams. I think sometimes the panache, just the panache of a club's existence matters more than the form they're on and the table position that they occupy and what they've done in the past. I don't know what your thoughts on that might be, but I mean, I think if it were any one of those other clubs, there would be no debate about which of these opening round matchups is the most exciting. Because normally, just the way the pots were and the way the draw was done this year, the way that the teams were in the pots, there have been years, I think anyway, where there aren't any matchups between Liga MX and MLS in the opening round of this tournament. It's almost all, between those clubs always facing Caribbean or Central American clubs.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just feel like there shouldn't be any debate about which one of these opening round matchups is the most exciting. And I think it's because Leon, for a lot of fans and MLS fans who don't pay attention to Liga MX at all, they just don't see the same panache in our club. And I think that's I think that's a shame.
Well, But remember though that when we talk about Liga MX, even before I went and played that, I used to watch it. The teams that always pop were Chivas, Cruz Azul. Those United States, everybody knows those teams. So Leon's been consistent. Leon's had good seasons, but they don't have that Club America. They don't have the Bamban play there and these big names and the money they used to spend. Just like in MLS, you know about LAFC, you know about the Galaxy. Can you tell me anything? Not really, because when you talk about MLS, you talk about the big spenders. Has Leon been known as one of the big spenders?
No, the opposite.
Is it a good matchup? Yeah. It's a fantastic matchup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But listen, they've won championships without having to spend big money. And when I look at it, I say it's not how much you spend, it's the quality that you bring in with the money you spend. Because people have spent hundreds of millions of dollars, and we'll go back to you and look what they're doing in the EPL with the money they've spent, compared to someone like Leicester City, who had half of that
and managed to win
and surprised everybody. So in order for Leon to put themselves, I think, among the elite in Liga MX, winning a Champions League, that's going to be huge. That'll put them, because that'll open up everybody's eyes here in the United States. Who's Leon? Now you know who Leon is. You know what I mean? Just like when you put Landon Donovan on that team. People didn't know, but they knew Landon Donovan played for Leon. True. And that was the marketing. So I think in order for, I'm not saying they have to go get a huge name player, you know, a Giroud, not a Giroud or someone like that. But in order for them to get that panache, like you guys are saying here in the United States, I think they got to win Champions League and let people know who Leon is.
Yeah. And I think Leon in the past, you know, when they brought Rafa Marquez and stuff like that, I think, you know, I think really where it comes down to is just winning championships, being consistent in that sense. Because you think about, why is Cruz Azul grande? Because they won 5 titles in the 70s. Chivas, because they won like 7 in the 50s and 60s. And I think that's really what makes a grande. You know, you have to make an era in winning titles. Also, of course, like Tigres, they brought Gignac and players like that. You know, I think it's a combination of both. But definitely, this is why Louis was saying that if maybe they don't take us seriously right now, because we're not the Cuatro Grandes, the only way they will take us seriously is beating LAFC, and then eventually, you know, the bracket that they're on will get Cruz Azul, America, and whoever is going to be in the final, whether it's Sounders or Tigres or whatnot. But I think that's the only way. The only way is winning championships, winning CONCACAF Champions, winning. It's cool to win 12 consecutive, you know, games. But I think, like everybody else on Twitter always says the same thing. You know, what does that even matter if you don't win a championship? And I think that's the thing that we need to do to really become a team that would be recognized maybe beyond Mexico.
And I'd love a final with the Sounders, man. I'm a Portland guy. My other team is the Portland Timbers, so I can't stand the Sounders. I would love a final, a Seattle Sounders final. That would be amazing. That would be the most amazing thing ever. Yeah,
that's a dream. I know that's Louis' dream.
Yeah. I'd go up to Seattle for that. Yeah.
and the Portland Blazers winning.
Yeah, and the Blazers.
So I know we've talked about in the past how Leon lacked sense of urgency when it mattered the most in Liga these past 2 seasons, where Leon needed to go out and get a scoreboard. They lacked the sense of urgency until they were down on the scoreboard. Then that's when they kind of wanted to come and save the game. So tomorrow night, Leon needs to not recaer in esa, you know, have some sense of urgency when they need to. And bringing that, what do you guys think the lineup's going to be? I think we can all agree that from midfield up, it's going to look the same. It's going to be Montes, Aquino, Mena, Meneses, Sosa, and Ramos. Or do we have doubts?
No, I think that's going to be it.
Yep.
So now we go defensively. What do we think? Yeah. What do we want? What do you think Ambris is going to play?
Go ahead, Jose.
I already said what I I don't know. But I actually want to know
I
what
think it's gonna
Marcelo
be-
thinks is going to be the defensive duo.
That's a tough one. I don't know injuries. I don't know how players are. I figured you would stick to something close to what you played against Monterrey. If you got a good result there, why would you change it? I'm a firm believer. If you beat the defending champions, right, and you great, but I wouldn't change much to what they had against Los Rayos.
Yeah. That's kind of why I do want to see it to be in the center. Just in case Barreiro does one of his, Barreiro things. He's like, he has the CEO there. I just agree.
We all make mistakes. We all make mistakes.
I like Barreiro. I believe in him. I really do. And I'm just gonna send him all the best vibes. I'm gonna send him all the. I'm gonna be like, come on, Barreiro. That's the guy who I think is gonna have the best night tomorrow. Watch, guys. Just watch. Because really, come on, guys. I really think that maybe
I'm gonna grab my pen and I'm gonna circle what you just said. Barreiro, good game. Okay.
Like Marcelo Balboa almost made in '94. By the way, that was impressive too. I always go back to that. Especially when I was like really into watching the World Cup movies, like the whole that was pretty awesome. But yeah, I think for sure I would like to see Barreiro center, Osvaldo the left, and on the right Navarro. I think that's just the best thing we could probably put against LAFC. Yep. What do you guys think?
Agreed. That's probably our best back line.
That's what's gonna happen. All I can say, sorry to hit on Barreiro, but Barreiro is like a downgraded Mosquera.
Hey, so what if Barreiro's watching, bro? Like he's gonna be man. We need to motivate him.
I don't know. I just remember when we had the stingiest best defense.
Go ahead. We're good. That's my son.
We had the hi.
Hello.
We had
he's a Leon
best
fan
defense.
Too.
All right.
Leon fan too.
In the family, nice.
Yeah, Louis gonna give him a free jersey. Louis, give him a jersey.
When we had the best, toughest defense in the Clausura 2019, when we had our record 12 straight wins, and the personnel really isn't that different from what we have now. But I don't know. In those days, we saw a lot of William Tecillo on the left at left back, and I really liked that. I thought he did very well there. I would put in Ramiro Gonzalez and Miguel Herrera on the center back and put Barreiro on the bench. I'm sorry, it's nothing personal against the dude. It's just I feel like he's had a lot of opportunities and he's made a lot of mistakes, and I think I would like to see that pairing. I would like to see that pairing. Maybe in the most important game of the decade so far. The decade's not very old, but the most important game of the decade so far. Maybe you don't put in a new center back pairing and maybe you don't experiment with a new center back pairing right off the bat.
Yeah.
But I personally would like to see that center back pairing going forward. I think Barreiro needs some time to fight for his position, adjust and fight for his position back. I don't know. He just hasn't. To me, he has not looked good. And so I would love to see Tecillo, Ramiro, Herrera, and Navarro on the back line. I know that's not what we're going to see, but that's my dream.
Yeah, you know what? And I think this is when having a coach, a really good coach like Ambriz is, because many players have said in the past that Ambriz motivates them, they make them believe in themselves. Mena has said it many times, and the reason why he came to Leon was because he had a conversation with Ambriz. I think this is where Ambriz more than ever needs to be that coach again and just motivate all of the players. And if he's putting Barreiro como titular, it has to be for a reason. Even though for me, I like how Ramiro plays, but it does seem maybe there's something that we don't know. He's the one there seeing los entrenamientos, every day. There's got to be a reason why he's starting, even though we all kind of feel that he doesn't have the same kind of understanding with the team, like maybe Ramiro or Ekiwa would, but who knows? I think at this point, we always talk about it. We don't like inventándose alineaciones, and let's not start with LAFC. I feel like let's just how Marcelo said, let's keep it like
much easier being a fan than a coach, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
I'm sure.
It's always the
There's-
manager's fault.
There's more pressure.
We have a
You know what they say, right? You know what they say. They say that that referees destroy games, right? Players win games, coaches lose games, right? Because of tactical decisions. So at the end of enough video on LAFC, he's got to put the team out there that he can feel that one can play out of the back, can defend those three that they're going to play. Because listen, it could be Diamande, who is a big, tall center forward who is fast, he's strong, he's good in the air. It could be Vela as that point guy that drops into the midfield. That leaves the two guys out wide exposed. That leaves a gap for Vela to move through and let the other midfielder. So I think he's got to look at what they could cause problems away from home. I personally to go, and only because you don't have a lot of time to start trying new players and new positions. For me, it's almost the exact same team that played against Monterrey, except for Sosa, who's injured. But I think you stick to as close as you can because you got a pretty good result there, and you want momentum. Momentum gets you going in the right place. There's a little hiccup I get. San Luis, time to play them at this point. It would have been better if they would have given them a break that weekend and getting them ready for this game. But the life is as you move on, and I see almost the exact same team as last weekend against Monterrey.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
definitely.
agree.
So we'll have new faces also on bench. We'll have the return of Ivan Rodriguez, which I think at a given time, maybe in second half, will come in clutch if needed. John Cardona will also be making his appearance back on bench, which him and Ramiro were questioned to see if they were just out of Ambris's team because they kept getting sent to La Tribuna. So it's good that they make their appearance on the bench and that are there when needed, because I think from the start of the season we would turn and look, we have youngsters on the bench. What more options do we have? We've given Godinez opportunity, but he still hasn't been able to synced in with the team. Sosa is now injured. We have a couple of injuries, so it's good to see that we have other options on bench, especially with the magnitude of this type of game. Before predictions, it's good to get Marcelo's view on the atmosphere in León, because I feel like people don't understand, León being 10 plus years in La Segunda. I mean, that stadium got filled every single weekend. Like the loyalty that the fan base has with their team, it's like no other loyalty, correct?
Yeah. You know what? The problem is here in the U.S., it doesn't come across on TV because you've got the broadcasters. When there's a goal scored, you can hear it. They pump up the volume a little more. Don't hear the atmosphere, so it's tough for people to understand what it's like. Here in the United States, they turn up the sound a little bit because of what they have in LAFC and what they have in other places. But God, I don't think I played a game in León that wasn't sold out. Not one time, win or lose. I remember my first game, and it was one of those games where you were like, you walk out and you're like, holy crap, because we're not used. I wasn't used to that. You used to play in national, unless you played in a World Cup, it was never full like that. And the way they're waving their flags, and I just kind of walked out a little nervous. My first game was against Club America, and I scored, but I had a nightmare. The panic set in that I was playing against Club America in Azteca, and I was playing for León. I was like, it all hit me at one time, and it wasn't one of my better performances, we'll say. It was okay, but I remember la cintura se me rompió poquitito ahí.
Was that Leo Benjaquez America, or was Leo Benjaquez still not with America?
Yeah.
So it was a 94-95 season, right?
When I went, it was 90, the end of 94, 95,
95, yeah.
So, but when I went home to León, I wasn't sure what to expect. Being an American, wasn't sure if they were going to accept me. And when I walked out onto the field, and it was electric. It was green everywhere, flags everywhere. And it kind of just took the nerves away. I felt like I was home. It was the weirdest feeling, because most games I walk to, I'm a little nervous because there's away fans, but when I walked out there, I was like, I remember Gustavo De Sotti and Tita. They're like, man, just relax. And I was like, and it was, it was cool. And scoring against Puma, my first goal, I don't even remember how I even celebrated because I was so excited to finally, it's being an American, playing in Mexico, you want to be accepted and you don't want failure. You can't have failure. So to be able to reward as a center back, because I was a defender, to be able to score and to give back to people that are supporting you was absolutely electric. And I still walked out of the stadium. People still told me I sucked, but I was okay with it.
Yeah. I wanted to say real quick, because I do feel it's kind of interesting that people in León, like there was in 2012, there was a game, León versus La Selección Mexicana prior to the London Olympics. And many people were wearing their León jerseys. They wanted León to win. And I've said it many times. I think many people in León, and I think you could say that for other teams around the world, like they kind of go more for their team than the national team. Yeah. And I think you being an American in León, I think that's why Landon Donovan was also received with open arms. And it was cool to see how whenever León went to play, like even in El Azteca, León was automatically an enemy number one of all of Mexico. And I kind of like that. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like that. I do like that.
It's because you weren't on the field.
Yeah, but I've been to hostile places where they don't like us. Like I would say Tijuana, right? Because being from San Diego, I would always go to the Cholos and León games, and they don't like us. I don't have a problem with them. I'm like, why don't you guys like us? Porque you're a rival, and we're like, no, I don't even consider you top 5 rival de León. But anyway, that being said. Yeah, it just feels like whenever you go see a León game in TJ, I love those games though, because you do see a lot of León fans from the whole country, like from Chicago to they all kind of, it's like a pilgrimage to TJ, and it's very beautiful. I think it's beautiful, and that being said, I think you came to the best team possible in Mexico, and that mattered.
I came to the best team possible.
Oh no!
Am I frozen or? Oh
no, it's not you.
Because over here, it's snowing over here.
There you are.
Sorry,
you froze. You said you came to the best team.
They overheard that I came to the best team.
It's kind of
in the whole world,
off and on. Listen, for me, this was the best team because it wasn't the pressure of having to go play at Club America or Cruz Azul or anything like that. It was a team that had good quality players, and all they were looking for was a center back to help put that group together. Again, not spending tons of money, not doing this. They just wanted to put a group of players that mixed in well together. And listen, it wasn't first practice. I got a guy who ripped my shoe. He stepped on me, pulled back. He was wearing the little studs. And he came right after me to send a message saying, hey, you're not coming here to take my spot. Well, I'm the stupid American. I changed my shoe. I went back on the field. And the next play I lit him up like there was no tomorrow and saying, I'm here to play too. I'm not here to. So now the coach got in between us both, which was great. It was great. Did we become friends? No, but we respected each other because there's no way that I'm going to let a guy come in here and hit me and showed everybody else, see the American. Screw that. I went right after him the next play and showed him that I'm here to stay. And I think that's where I gained my respect of he's here. He wants to be here. And listen, initially I knew nothing about León. I knew nothing about León because you didn't see it much back in the old days on TV. So as I got there, I learned the culture. I learned the history of it. And the more and more I was there, it was like, this is me. I walked around downtown. I bought my 2 dogs. My first 2 dogs, I bought at the little mall there. I bought a black and a white lab. I had my girlfriend there. We had everything. My kid was conceived. I won't say my kid was conceived there, Nicholas. So you know what I'm saying? This was. I thought I was going to be there for a long time, and unfortunately, MLS came by and wanted all the American players to come back to León. It wasn't like I left because I didn't want to be there. I left because the project of starting MLS and being that pioneer of helping helping this league of MLS get off the ground and play and start was awesome. Now, the sad part is eventually Colorado Rapids met Leon in Champions League at Mile High. I come in off the bench and I score a goal, and I really don't celebrate. You know what I mean? Because it was kind of a weird kind of feeling. So, but if I had to do it again, I would have gone to Leon earlier. I would have gone to Leon after the 90 World Cup and played there longer.
Wow.
Nice.
I mean, even though you only played one
awesome.
season, though, I feel like many people from Leon, they remember you. You know, they that's just how Leon people are. You know, we're very appreciative to anybody that's just like when Donovan said, because he went to the stadium first and he was like, oh, I love the people, the el ambiente, and then eventually when he signed, it was like, whoa, he could have gone to a team that was more built up for him, you know, because he could have gone to like a bigger team, but he chose Leon, and that's something that I think fans won't forget. If it was up to like a voting, like fans could vote, you're Hall of Fame in my book, in Leon.
Well, I appreciate that. I do get
because you're an ambassador.
A lot of people. Well, I love my club. I love my club, even though I was there for a year. I
Dang.
Colorado, it's been 25 years that I've been here. You know what I mean? But with Leon, it was a different attraction. I think it was the American playing in a Mexican team, starting in a Mexican team. And at that time, remember, Tab Ramos with Tigres, Mike Sorber was with Puma. So people, it was kind of weird because people here in the U.S. were waiting for Leon and Tigres to play, or for Leon and Pumas to play, because they wanted to see the Americans play.
Yeah. Definitely.
Wow.
We got a lot of comments on the chat.
Oh my god.
Well, to share a few.
I've been wondering. What the comment for a while.
Marcelo Balboa siempre Fiera. There you go.
He's from San Diego too.
Let's see.
San Diego State, baby.
Well, I got my Padres hat. Louis hates me because I'm always wearing my Padres hat.
Nah, I just think you need another hat, bro.
You know what I've come to realize? You know what I've come to realize? I'm looking at all the screens. I'm missing stuff behind me. We're gonna have to get Leon stuff. I'm gonna have to talk to my people at Leon to send me some jerseys or something.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Do you still have your 94-95 jersey?
Yeah.
I have all my jerseys. All my jerseys. They're in there. I'm not going to tell you where, but I do have. You know what? I'll even hold on. Hold that thought real quick. Hold that thought.
He's gonna go get his son. His son's gonna stand behind the screen like this.
Just hold this until the end of the pod.
Yeah.
It's because all those jerseys are beautiful because it was before Leon started putting like $1 billion.
Yes.
All the sponsors, before Cemento.
Guys, it was before Cemento Fortaleza. Yeah, you're right. I was about to say that. Oh,
yeah.
I need to break this out.
Oh,
I need to break this out.
Oh,
look at that. A little Balboa.
Yeah.
That is a rad.
Little 27. I still have mine. Look at that. I got the back. I still got it all.
Today?
Wow.
I still got it. Come on, man. Look at this. I've got my
nice.
Oh my god, that's such a beauty.
Oh yeah.
I still have my precious gear.
Gotta wear it tomorrow.
Gear, so
and this does feel like it's all to the group chat. I'm like, isn't that crazy? I said about we're number 20.
There you go.
27.
Perfect.
It was destiny. It was destiny.
How the universe works.
And then one more comment before we go to predictions. In Good Company has a request. Can Balboa come in on a one-match contract and replace Rodrigo?
You know what? I will sign for 1 day. I will sign for 1 day if they'll retire me as a Leon. How's that?
Ooh,
Well, like
good idea.
Cuauhtemoc. How was Cuauhtemoc Blanco when he plays? Is it
I mean,
40
for tomorrow.
Listen, I play indoor soccer and I run 20 minutes, and more than likely I'll pull a hamstring. So I'm good. I'm good.
Oh.
I'm 52 and I'm loving life, but I'm smart enough to realize that as a center back, I'm not going to chase these young boys anymore. But you know,
All right.
Yeah. Well,
I don't want
Javier,
to
do
say
you know what
anything,
time it
but
is?
Carlos, you talk way too much, Carlos. I don't want to say anything.
Oh, sorry. I'm over here
Quiet,
dealing with,
Carlos.
I am. I'm over here live tweeting and I'm doing all the technical stuff.
Oh,
He
in the
likes
background.
tweets.
all right.
Yeah.
All
He's
right.
doing
All right.
yeah, he's multitasking.
All right.
He's
Good job,
in
Carlos.
the background for us.
He's already
he's
making
doing
like
both.
the next poster.
Oh man.
So, Javier, you know what time it is?
I do know what time it is, but I'm not gonna do the jingle because I forgot it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
keep telling you guys I improvise the jingle every single time. You guys don't
Okay.
believe me.
Go for
Okay.
it.
Go for
Okay,
it.
I'll just go for it. All right. Da 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 da! It's prediction time. Da da da! Why am I doing this, guys? Marcelo Balboa is right here. I get that time. There's no need.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
It's prediction time. So,
Hey,
we're so nervous to give our predictions for tomorrow night because we expect nothing
God.
but the best from the
Oh, my
first
God.
leg. Getting a positive scoreboard, but let's be real and let's start off with Louis. Your prediction for tomorrow's night's first leg against LAFC at home, which you will be attending.
Yes, I'll be there. It's going to be a great environment. It's going to be jam-packed. Tickets are all sold out, which yeah, it's going to be crazy. I'm going to get there super early. Going to scope out the entire scene. This will be my first competitive international match. I'm approaching 200 matches attended, but I haven't been to a CONCACAF Champions yet. So I'm real stoked. This is going to be a lot of fun. And you know what? I'm going to get greedy. I'm going to go with a 3-0 home win. I think, Nacho Ambriz in his press conference tried to downplay the being in form factor, the fact that Leon is in midseason form and the MLS season hasn't even started yet. He tried to downplay that. I'm not going to do that. I think that's going to be an enormous factor. I think having the home game first is an enormous factor. I think we have a real chance to go out there and make a statement. As Marcelo said, we have a chance to go out there and make a statement. And I think we will. I think our attacking core is going to be too much for the LA defense as a unit. And I think we're going to find the back of the net 3 times. And I think we're going to get a goose egg on the defensive end. I think it's going to be a 3-0 home win. Leon makes a statement, and they have a comfortable lead going into leg 2 in LA.
Okay. Louis
Let's
says
go.
3-0. Let's go with Carlos. Your prediction.
So I'm going to have to agree with Louis on this one. Also 3-0. I think that Leon, our form right now, mid-season, we're looking really good. I think going into the San Luis game, we were already thinking about this game, and I think mentally we weren't there, and that's why we lost, because I think we had the team to compete. But yeah, like Louis said, these guys, they're not in form yet, so 3-0. Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's go. You are ready. 3-0. Carlos agrees with Louis. Javier, your prediction, sir.
Okay. I agree 100% with Louis when he says that I think it's an advantage to have the first leg in Leon because of the same reason that they're in their pretemporada and Leon has a lot of rhythm. But yeah, something about Campbell, Jairo, Nico, whatnot. And I don't know. I feel we're gonna score, but I feel they might get at least 1 in. So I think it's gonna be more like a 3-1 win.
3-1?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 3-1 win. Javier thinks LAFC is gonna slip one. Let's go with Jose. Your scoreboard, sir, for tomorrow.
What can I say? We're at home, and we need to win. We need to win big because it's going to be a hard second leg. So I think we're probably gonna go for a big margin, so 3, and then we're gonna let 1 in. So 3.
So you agree with me?
1.
3-1. Okay. 3-1.
Yes.
Marcelo, your
Yeah,
prediction for tomorrow.
definitely in the way tower.
Ooh, this is a tough one, and only because I love MLS too,
Yeah.
and I see and I out at home first, or is it better to get that away leg out? Get the result you want, then come home. But I think LAFC is going to put up a good fight. I think they're a good team. They're not in form. I think the difference will be is, again, Leon's going into their 7th game. LAFC is going into their 5th, but their first real competition game. I think LA is going to have to be careful towards the end of the game because of that 60, 70, 80th minute. If they don't defend well, that's where it could get in trouble. I'm going to slip in the 2-1. I think Leon's going to win, but I think that Bob Bradley has enough experience in these kind of games, coaching in Europe, that he's going to come up with a tactical plan to make sure they're a good, solid defensive group and maybe try to hit Leon on the counterattack, because Leon will commit numbers forward. They will send numbers forward, which will allow LAFC to hit them on the counterattack. Plus, when you've got a guy like Carlos Vela on set pieces, he is very dangerous on those balls. So I think Leon will win. I think they will. But I think it's going to be tighter than people think. I'm going to go 2-1.
2-1, Marcelo. Okay. It is tough. I think, especially coming from a loss, a couple of fans are not, on the positive aspect. But, this is against an MLS team. This is a Leon that has been playing the best football, collectively, beautifully football, compared to, Tigres, which yesterday was another situation. But I think defensively we're kind of weak, but as long as we know we have the right mentality, and I think that takes a lot with leadership like Chapo Montes, putting that mentality in them that it's a home game, it's a do or die at this point. We have to make a statement at home and kind of show LAFC that Leon is a team that can hold their ground and they can definitely make a statement at home, and they shouldn't be doubted. So I do think it's going to be tough, like Marcelo said. I'm not going to be too ambitious, so I'm going to go with 2-1 as well. Leon.
So pretty much me and Jose agree, Louis and Carlos agree, and Marcelo and Kari agree.
Yeah. How that worked
That's
out.
Good.
Marcelo, we have a comment, and it was a pretty interesting comment on the live chat. Sinelole said, also, I used to work in a hotel where Leon used to rest back when Balboa used to play for Leon. Very nice guy. I asked him for a jersey. He said yes, but never got it.
Wow.
First of all, I'll apologize. I don't remember that. And God knows I've taken enough concussions not to remember that. So, but if I remember Leon, I'll see if I can get you one.
There you go.
All right.
Plus, that was like almost 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago.
Yeah, that was 10 concussions ago. We'll just leave it at that. But I'm glad at least he knew I was a nice guy. That was nice. That was good.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
Raul Guerrero says 2-1.
2-1. Marco
3-1.
Medina wins 3-1.
Yeah. All right, Marco.
And Luis Jaime said Leon wins 2-0. That's a different scoreboard than us.
It's a different scoreboard, and that's very possible as well.
Yeah.
Definitely. So we're expecting a great atmosphere tomorrow night, as there's been lots of talks. I think someone on the group on the live chat is LAFC fan. I was reading. He said we'll have between 100 to 1,000 fans at Leon, so the atmosphere will definitely live up to the hype. That's team win.
That's what I heard. I think
I ran into an LAFC fan here just out at the bars here in Guanajuato last night. I ran into one. Some of them are not just coming to the match, but also taking advantage of the opportunity to explore the area and see the other interesting things around here, which I thought was cool. So I made friends with an LAFC fan who's going to be in the visitor section tomorrow. Just a guy, Ringo from LA. Yeah. So
And I wish.
he said there's going to be about 1,000. Some of them. Yeah.
So here's a
Some of
question:
them are
Do you
probably
think
just
there's
gonna.
going to be?
Leon,
I have a question. Do you guys think?
by all means, enjoy the city.
What do you say?
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy the city. Enjoy the city. Especially the centro, all the way to the stadium. Puente del Amor. All that's very beautiful. But I was gonna say something. Do you think there's gonna be more LAFC fans in León or more León fans in LA?
Oh, I think there are gonna be more León fans in LA, dude.
There's a lot of people from León and California.
I think there's.
I think there'll be more. I think there'll be more than 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
You mean for
it's gonna be interesting.
I don't. Just judging by the friendlies that I've gone to up there, I don't know. Carlos and Jose can comment on this too. But just the friendlies I went up there, there are a ton of León fans in LA, and they've been out in full force commenting and saying that they're going to be there. And I mean, this isn't just some friendly out at with Chivas out at StubHub Center. I mean, this is.
Well, the only thing.
It's an official match.
There's
two.
People from León are allowed in the stadium.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? Am I still there? Am I frozen again?
You froze for a second.
Yeah, you got frozen a little bit.
Sorry.
So just remember the LAFC
something going on because
season ticket holders.
Yeah.
So they're going to be allowed to buy first right to those tickets. So unless you say I'm an LAFC fan and you're really a León fan and you're buying tickets, I think the number of León fans is going to be very limited in that stadium.
Oh, we already
could be.
Tickets.
Could be.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Carlos, Jose, and I we bought our tickets the first day. So
nice.
We'll be there cheering. Got them for my folks coming down from Portland too. They'll be there.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of comments on Twitter from people who are coming from like different states. Some guys are coming up from Northern California, so it's not just LA fans. It's from all over the U.S.
Because I'm telling you guys, like when TJ plays León, when you go to the TJ games, there's people from all over the country, and why wouldn't they go to LA? Because I do remember when they were announced, people were like buying my tickets. Maybe I don't know how much León fans are going to be in the stadium because, like you said, LAFC fans get first dibs. Mm-hmm. But I do hope there's a same amount of turnout as LAFC fans coming to León.
Yep.
That's pretty impressive. 800 to 1,000. That's okay.
Yeah, definitely. So that is the end of this podcast. We know that the next jornada game will be against Necaxa, but it's kind of hard to conclude. So let's just get over this matchup, and we'll have some predictions out later during the week for the weekend's matchup. So this was our preview for a very hyped match against the LAFC. First leg of Champions. We were all very excited and very nervous at the same time. Yes. Marcelo, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And you're more than welcome to come back whenever you want.
Thank you for having me. And anytime you'd like to have me, I'd be back. I would like to come back before the next game in LA. I think that would be fun so we can talk about this first game and see what they can do better or what they can do worse or what LA needs to do.
Next Monday,
right? You're noted. Next Monday.
Wow.
Sweet.
Back-to-back podcast with Marcelo Balboa. Oof. Way better than I would have ever imagined.
I won't take up that much time. I know Carlos wants to talk more next time, so I'm sorry, Carlos.
No worries.
Please, Marcelo, because Carlos is low-key kind of mad about it.
No,
he's focused, man. He's focused. I can see him tweeting out and stuff.
Hey, man,
Mama mentality.
He's the beast. Carlos is the beast of this team, man. He's like listening, tweeting, making the poster for next week's podcast.
Oh, my Lord.
He's amazing.
You are good. I'll give you that.
Thank you, everybody on the chat that was active with us. Thank you, Fernando, Marco, Nerevine, Alex, Jose, Alejandro, Cidelole, Marco Medina, the guys from the Eagle Eye podcast. Let's see. In Good Company, Raul, Luis, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in another episode of the Lions Den podcast, episode 27. I mean, it's meant to be, Marcelo, number 27. I mean, Can't get better than
Meant to
that.
be.
Meant to be. Follow us on all of our Twitter on the screen. You can follow us there. We live tweet during matches. We give our inputs, everything you need to know about Club Leon in English. Make sure to follow at Club Leon EN. This is green. Also, clubleoning.com, where we post anything Club Leon, articles of every match. So you can stick around and just live tweet us, comment on us, whatever you guys want. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll be here in another episode of Monday Night Football next Monday, to hopefully a victory Monday. Correct?
Let's go,
Happy
Leon.
Monday.
Hopefully a two victory Monday. Yeah.
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 Okay. Well,
Dale, dale, dale,
Dale,
Leo. Dale, dale, Leo. Dale.
Now you sing. Now you sing.
Now-
Because I know that dale, Leon. The prediction part was
There
like,
you
I
go.
didn't even forgot what I said. I'll work on the jingle. I'll work on it.
All right.
Okay.
Work. I need some music behind the jingle, though. There's got to be a little music behind it.
Well, I
Yeah.
used to freestyle. I used to do a podcast with Jose, and I used to freestyle about what happened in the whole week of the league and just like talking about Leon and how they should. But I do need like hip hop music in there.
All right.
yeah.
You need a little hip hop.
Well,
Thank you
we'll
for
have
having
the
me, guys. I
jingle next
appreciate it.
week. All right.
You
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Thank you, Marcelo.
Yeah.
Thank you, Virginia.